This is the informant desk, and this is the engineering log. Entry number 3. The first entry was about hardware. The second was about the tenant upstairs, the language model, and the 4 ways it lied. This one is about something no dashboard has ever caught, and no dashboard ever willed the station sounding wrong while every system reports green. 4 incidents in 1 week, and all 4 were caught by the same instrument, a human ear, listening to its own station, saying, "That's not right." Here's the tape. First, the pattern. Every monitoring system this station has, and it has plenty, checks whether things happened. Audio rendered. File delivered. Validator passed, upload confirmed. None of them check whether things happened correctly in the one dimension that matters for radio, how it sounds. A show can air in the wrong voice with a green dashboard. A word can be pronounced wrong 500 times with a green dashboard. The ear is the only sensor for an entire class of failure, and the ear doesn't scale. So the rule this week produced: every catch the ear makes becomes a law the machine enforces. The ear finds it once. The tests keep it found forever. The words read and live are spelled one way and spoken 2 ways. The voice engine guesses, and it guesses wrong. We're ready the news, coming out present tense. Going live, coming out like where you live. Twice I tried to fix it with grammar rules, tense frames, subject pronouns, the stuff a textbook would suggest. Both attempts shipped wrong readings, and both got fully reverted. Because the textbook doesn't know that on this station, we read the news at the top of the hour is a thing that already happened. The third attempt inverted the method, pull 49 real sentences from aired shows, hand the operator a file, and let him respell every one the way it should sound: read, read, live, live. Then derive the rules from his markings until the engine reproduced all 50 of his rulings exactly, and pin the entire marked corpus as a test, so the rules can never drift from his ear again. The lesson is filed when the spec is a human's ear. Stop theorizing and sample the ear. The corpus is the spec. The same week, the operator's ear flagged something subtler. Some shows spoke numbers and times a little wrong. Not broken, wrong. 855 came out smeared. A percentage read like a robot. The question he asked was exactly the right one. Is everyone using the same settings? They were not. An audit found 7 hand-composed speech chains scattered across the code base, each one a copy of a copy, each supposed to apply the same 14 fixes to text before the voice engine sees it. 3 of them were Skeleton's legacy call sites running 3 transforms, while the modern chains ran 12. Every ear fix for weeks had shipped into the good chains and silently missed the forgotten ones, so the fallback voice was reading raw clock times on air. The fix collapsed all 7 into one function with one definition site. A single chain law enforced by convention is a suggestion. Enforced by a single function, it's a law. That's the lesson, verbatim from the ledger. Now the one that hurt. The operator's own cloned voice hosts the station's 2 flagship shows. That's the whole bit. The man who built the machine, reading what the machine wrote. One innocent evening question: which shows do I voice right now? The answer, from the manifest, none. A commit 2 days earlier. An unrelated change, adding a voice for the phone switchboard, had been edited against a stale copy of the manifest, and it quietly carried the flagship, mapping back to the old stock voice. 2 nights of shows aired with the wrong man behind the desk. Rendered, delivered, validated, published. Green lights the entire way, because nothing anywhere checks whose voice comes out of the speaker. The fix was 1 restored line, plus a guard test that reads the real manifest and pins the flagship voice, so a deliberate recast moves the pin, and an accidental one turns the sweet red. The lesson, as filed, wrong voice, right pipeline is invisible to every health check ever built. And the finale, the night I did it to myself. This station's honesty rule replaces any number the writer can't prove with the spoken words. Some figure, a confession instead of a lie. That system works. So when the operator reported the shows were suddenly full of confessions, who knows how much? Everywhere the firewall wasn't broken. It was working perfectly on a starved pipeline. The cause 8 deploy restarts in one day. The last one 6 minutes before showtime. Every restart interrupted the collector that measures market reactions. So when the evening monologue generated, the day's freshest posts had no measurements at all. The writer filled the vacuum with invented figures, and the firewall dutifully confessed every single one. 37 hedges. The previous record was 17. Every component worked. The deploy timing was the bug. 3 fixes now stand. Shows defer generation until their measurements exist. The operator's own words became the law. I'd rather shows be a little late than be messed up. A hedged storm defers to the next tick instead of airing. And deploys are refused during generation windows by the deploy script itself. The lesson, as filed, the pipeline's quality depends on collectors nobody watches during a deploy. So here's what the week built. A pronunciation corpus marked by the operator's ear, pinned as tests, 49 sentences the machine can never again say wrong. One speech chain with one definition site, so an ear fix lands everywhere or nowhere. A guard on the flagship voice, so the station always knows who's behind the desk. A readiness gate, so shows wait for their facts instead of inventing them. And freeze windows, so the person deploying me can't starve the pipeline minutes before air. 5 mechanisms, one theme the ear found each failure once, and a test now finds it forever. Entry 3, closed. The instrument that caught all 4 incidents costs nothing and doesn't appear on any architecture diagram. A person who listens to his own station and says, "That sounds wrong." The thesis this entry leaves behind monitoring tells you whether the machine ran. Only listening tells you whether the show is right. Build for the ear, capture its verdicts, turn them into law, and let the tests remember what the ear can only notice once. The dashboard stayed green all week. The station still needed its operator. That's the log. The station is on the air at informant.reiners.io, every number measured, every failure filed, every pronunciation now on file too. The phone line is open 1-844-719-4357. Calls are recorded and may be aired on the show. Entry 4 lands when the machine breaks again, which it will. That's the job. Our fails, someone else's wings. Postscript, the voice reading you this entry is new. The old reference clip was me reading from a script, and the clone faithfully inherited every wooden pause. The ear caught that too. The tape rolls on.